obviously couldn't be prouder of our guys. And so happy for them that they were able to, achieve this goal of winning the NEC tournament and getting to go to the NCAA tournament. One of the toughest teams I've ever coached mentally. Guys are locked in each and every day. As this season went on, they raised their level each and every time they were challenged. These two guys here help pave the way for that, along with John and Yanis and AJ. And, I think the thing I would say about these guys is it's as competitive a group from top to bottom as we've coached. And I think when you have the competitiveness and the toughness that they have, you become willing to do so much more to be able to win. And, we've seen games where guys haven't shot it well but still continue to rebound and defend and are willing to do whatever it takes to be 1 point better than our opponent. And like I said, just so happy for these guys. Obviously facing a really difficult offensive team in St. Francis. The job we were able to do to limit their ability, holding them under 70 points is a tough task. And these guys really rose to that challenge.
Andy, is the feeling like tonight, make all those hard summer days, all those tough practices, the tough losses, the teaching moments, is the feeling tonight coming down the nets, does it really kind of make it all worth it?
I mean, you could ask them, but I know from my experience, you don't remember any of that. As soon as you have the opportunity to go up there and cut down the net, you don't think about conditioning days. You don't think about hard practices. You don't think about getting on the line. All you think about is that you just won a championship. And it takes so much to be able to do it. It takes so much consistency to be able to do it. Because you're right. If you take off the summer, you're not having the opportunity. If you're not doing it in the fall, this doesn't happen. If you don't learn as the season goes on, this doesn't happen. And so these guys, they were unbelievable. They were unbelievable all year long to get to this point. They were singularly focused. They were locked in. They knew that this was their goal. And even when we started, the year, we had some losses. We had to learn some hard lessons. But these guys responded time and time again. And I'm just so happy and proud for these guys, because this is what you play Division I basketball for, to be part of the NCAA tournament. There's very, very few people that can say they played in the NCAA tournament. Now these guys can say that.
AJ was talking after the game about how St. Francis was the favorite in this game and how you guys were picked, I think it was 5th or 6th preseason in the conference. How much did you use that as a tool of, people don't believe in you guys, pushing people as underdogs?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we don't get into a ton of that, but I know, this year was a little bit odd in terms of us being the 1 seed. We've been the 1 seed a number of times, and, it just kind of seemed like we were just hosting the tournament. And so, I think these guys understood that. We were one of the only teams in the country, or one of the only teams in conference tournament play that was a number 1 seed that wasn't the favorite. And I think these guys took that personally, and they wanted to go out and compete and show everybody what they were capable of. And obviously we had a scare in the quarterfinals last Wednesday, but we survived. And I thought we played about 80 minutes of about as good a basketball as you can possibly play in the semifinals and the finals.
Black and a little personal on the defensive end, but also scored 18 points. Just what were you feeling out there tonight?
I got off to a slow start. I think I was 0 for 3 from the three-point line, and guys just kept telling me, believing in myself. Josh being the main one, and Toole just telling me to keep my shot in that shot pocket, and just trusting in their word, and that's what just kept me going. They just kept me locked in.
Dante, you came off a freshman year in which you've admitted, you struggled a little bit and had to kind of find your way, and then you start this year under the radar, start turning heads, and now you end it tonight, or end the NEC tonight with people chanting MVP. Just take us through that process, how much went into that, the things, the details that people don't see.
Yeah, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, When I went home for summer, I mean, that's kind of cliche, blood, sweat, and tears, but it's true. I went home for summer, and, I just worked. I don't think I took a day off. I worked with my brother, worked with my pops, just doing what we did to get me here. And we just stuck to that, and then when I got here, I worked even harder, just believing in myself. I think that was the biggest thing.
Andy, how did Dante get in your radar initially when he transferred?
I mean, I think we've told this story before, but Mike Isolino had known him. He'd been on our campus. His high school team had played games in the area and been here previously. His AAU team had come to Pittsburgh before. And so, as we went through the summer, and he was, doing his, I guess, whatever they call it, your cadet summer, or not plebe summer, boot camp at West Point, and things didn't work out, and we were alerted to the fact that he might be interested in going somewhere else. We jumped on it, and Mike and I were just talking. We remember having a conversation during July recruiting, saying, okay, what do we think this guy's cap is? What do we think he can become? And Mike said, I don't know. I just know he's tough, right? And the game honors toughness, and he's as tough as they come. We talked in the middle of the year this year and said we weren't talking in the summer about him being a starter and playing 30+ minutes a game, but because of the way he works, because he's always willing to do whatever it takes, opportunities and success follows that. And I think if you go across our team, and Josh could probably testify to this, he's a dude who he doesn't blink, he doesn't back down, he's locked in every day. And as sometimes other guys get emotional and they have ups and downs, he's as rock solid as they come. And the game honors toughness, and you see the charges he takes. He gets a bloody mouth in the beginning of the game. He's guarding usually the most effective perimeter scorer on the other team. He's asked to handle the ball. He carries a big load, and we believe in him. We have confidence in him because of what he does every day.
Andy, you've been here before. You're here again. You got this new building. You had that atmosphere, and you won with maybe the toughest team you've ever had. Is the bar raising for your program?
I think we always raise the bar. I think the expectation level is always to get better, always to improve. These guys certainly help set the stage. Josh talked to our team before the conference tournament on senior day about opportunities that he had to be close to this moment and not get there. And so he really drove the mission, right? He drove it, and guys followed him, and guys listened to him. And not only did he talk the talk, he backed it up. We're playing in that game against LIU. They make a little run to start the second half. He makes a big three, tells everyone just to calm down, right? Those are senior moments. Tonight we were trying to at times give him a break and get him off Braxton, and he's waving us off saying, no, I want to guard him. I want to guard him. I want to guard him. And he didn't want to leave anything to chance, knowing it was his last time around. And I think our guys followed suit and made sure they took care of all the details in order to be successful.
Emotional people, there were a lot of emotional players after the game. A lot of, as the old saying goes, glowing and crying. What were your emotions after the one?
I'm just so happy for these guys. I mean, my emotions are irrelevant. Like I'm just happy for these guys. You know what I mean? This is why we coach. Is to give guys opportunities like this, and obviously they created the opportunity. They did the heavy lifting. They guarded. They shot it. They rebounded it. They executed offense, and it's their moment. They deserve it. They've earned it. And, as a coach, you're just so happy to help in any way, shape, or form facilitate this kind of memory that these guys are creating.
Can you talk a little bit about the emotional edge you guys came out with and the importance of attacking the paint, getting into the paint, drawing defenders, how it set up the ability to rebound offensively or get quality shots, and how important it was to set that tone against St. Francis?
I think we felt in a sense, in the fact that nobody really believed in us. I thought that, like Coach Toole said, I've been in this situation before, and I didn't want it to happen again. I didn't want the guys around me to feel what I felt, to come up short. And so just to make the right play every time, whether it be defensively or offensively, that was the most important thing. To sacrifice whatever was going outside of our lives for what was going on in the moment right now, that was the most important thing.
Andy, in the first matchup, Isaiah scored 30 on 12 of 18 shooting. He was 12 of 37 in the last two games. What differences did you guys have on him specifically from a defense standpoint?
Oh, I mean, obviously everybody that was on him, Dante, John, they did a great job of just not giving him any space. I mean, the hard part about Isaiah is he's so efficient in his scoring and his shooting. It's not like he's a ball-dominant player. He's a guy who really comes off one screen, catches and shoots. He's a guy who gets a little advantage, drives you to the rim. He's a guy who gets stuff in transition. We wanted to make sure we matched to him in transition. That was first and foremost. And then we wanted to try and make him not have a whole lot of airspace, right? Because he doesn't need much. And I thought Tay was just always there. He was relentless in his positioning. He was relentless in his pursuit over screening. We try to do some things on some actions that they like to try and disrupt him with some traps and get the ball out of his hands. And, I think that those kind of things can disrupt your rhythm. And, the guys were locked into game plan. We tried not to help off him as much as we possibly could. And I think, we didn't give him a whole lot of clean looks in those last 2 games.
Andy, dribble drive penetration, getting to the rim came in abundance tonight. What made that so successful?
It's something where, when we played them the first time, they were playing a lot of zone, mixing in some man. We played them the second time, they had been playing predominantly zone. Since that game, they played predominantly man. So we really worked on, being able to create driving lanes for guys. They ice all their ball screens, and so that's sometimes a difficult read. And sometimes what you have is those drives. And so as we watched film, those guys were forcing so hard to the baseline and to the sideline that when we were able to clear some space, we were telling Tay and Josh and John, go downhill and attack and get into the paint. And then if help comes, drop it off to a teammate or have your kick. And I think they were obviously not allowing him a whole lot of clean looks, even though he was able to find some. And we needed to hurt them with dribble drive. That was what we needed to do. After maybe we got them engaged in a ball screen defense, reverse the basketball, then we wanted to try and attack and make a play. And I thought when we built our lead, we were able to do that. And again, it's these guys, understanding the adjustments that we're trying to make and then being able to go out and execute those plays.
Andy, how does this one feel different from 2015?
they all feel great. There's really no difference in this opportunity, right? This is something you could get greedy for. And, I think this is what our program has been built on. This was our 7th championship game in 13 years. This is our 4th tournament appearance in 13 years. Today was our 261st win in 13 years. I don't know a lot of schools at our level that have averaged 20 wins a year over a 13-year span. And so, the consistency and the work ethic that these guys have shown, when Josh got here, we were a 500 team. And coming from a winning program and all his life being a winner, he started to set the tone, and then guys were able to follow. And so, like I said, it's an unbelievable feeling. These guys will be walking on clouds for the next 7 to 10 days, and they should, because this is a unbelievable moment for them.
Andy, you got it.
Andy, this is number 6 for you before the age of 40. What can you tell these guys about the experience?
Yeah, keep trying to go back. Keep trying to go back. Why do you got to throw the 40 in? I think tomorrow's my half birthday, I think, by the way, 39 and a half. But, yeah, you want to keep going back. You want to keep getting this opportunity. And there's been times, whether it's myself, whether it's Jimmy Langhurst, Shane Southwell, Mike Isolino, guys that have played in the tournament and been a part of this, have shared some of their experiences. And, it's funny. It's the little things that maybe you don't always have the opportunity to. When you're driving down the wrong side of the road in a police escort on the way to the game, it's a cool moment, right? And so those are some of the things that are just unique about being able to be in the NCAA tournament that these guys will get to experience, and then they'll get to tell, the next group behind them.
Andy, you lost to St. Francis 9 times in a row, and then now you've beaten them twice in 2 weeks in the game to clinch the top seed and now to win the championship. What is a game plan that has kind of changed your fate? And then the second part is what makes it so difficult to coach against Rob in kind of these big marquee games?
I mean, he's done such a good job with that program, and obviously Braxton's had an incredible career. Blackman's had an incredible career. Those guys will go down as some of the greats in St. Francis basketball history. I think they're the winningest class in their school's history, and it's just a tribute to Rob and what he's done there, and those guys' work ethic and consistency. But the game plan's nice, but without execution, it doesn't work. And so these are the guys that executed. These are the guys that made the adjustments. They went out. They saw the adjustments that we needed to make. We showed them on film. We talked about it. We drilled it. And then they went out and did it. And that's really more important than anything else. And, again, the desire and the willingness of these guys to go out and win the game was really, really what was the difference in the last 2 versus the first one.
If I can bring up one thing that you maybe have not given any thought to yet. But if you end up going to Dayton for a play-in game, the governor of Ohio has said that he wants sporting events in that state to not have any fans. So you face the possibility of going to Dayton for a play-in game with no crowd. What could that possibly be like for college basketball?
I would wish the governor luck in keeping my wife out of that game if he decides they're not going to have fans. He's going to call my 7-year-old and my 5-year-old and tell them that they can't come to the NCAA tournament. Good luck. We're just happy to be playing. So whatever goes on outside of that, we can't worry about it. We're going to be ready to play whoever our opponent is, wherever they send us. We're just happy to be able to put the jersey on one more day.
Andy, kind of to that point, you know, before you guys even took the court today, they didn't let the Ivy League kids play. Like, did you?
Such a shame.
Did it cross your mind at all getting here? Like, win or lose, St. Francis beats you by 50. At least you have a chance to play for it.
Well, I told Noreen if we were down 10 late in the game, if she could maybe say there was a coronavirus outbreak, end the game, and declare us the bid winner as the #1 seed. She didn't seem like she was going for that, but I tried. Yeah, I think it's a shame about the Ivy League. You know, I played at Penn. I talked to some of the people associated with their program today, and obviously they have to do what they believe is best for their program and their student athletes and their schools. But to have your career ended in that kind of manner is crushing. And I know Penn, who just qualified fourth to be able to be in the Ivy Madness, they were crushed. And you know, it is what it is. But you know, we're all figuring it out as we go. You know, we don't necessarily know what's right, what's wrong, and everyone's trying to make the best decisions possible. And I'm sure everybody associated with the NCAA tournament will do the same.
But for Yale too, right? I mean, they didn't get to do what you guys got to do.
No, they're going to get to do it. They're going to get to do it. I mean, they again, I'm sure Coach Jones took them into, you know, the gym and had them cut down the nets because they'll be going to the NCAA tournament, and that's what the end goal is.
Josh, your brother, was emotional talking about you after the game. You checked in the second half, you got that steal, you hit that three, you guys kind of looked at each other. Just talk about those moments with your brother, knowing that could have been your last game together.
I don't know, those are undescribable moments, stories that we'll be able to tell our kids, our nieces, our nephews for the rest of our lives. When I checked back in, he told me I got to be a leader. And as soon as he said that, I thought back to a quote that I read, I think it was 2 days ago, and I kept reading it over and over, and it was about Muhammad Ali. It said, only a man who's been defeated can look to the bottom of his soul and grab the ounce that he needs to win the match when it's even. And I just thought about that over and over and over again. I've been defeated before, and I didn't want that to happen again. And so when he told me I got to be a leader, I got to step up, and I got to amp my play, that was the first thing I thought of. And then when I hit the three, I pointed to him and was like, we're going to do it.
When you hit that three, it seemed like you were shouting at him, because I think it was like a 2-on-2, but you were trailing, right? Did you know he heard you at the time, or like is that just kind of like a, I don't know?
Yeah, so since we were younger, we've said things like trailing, behind you, sleep. Nobody knows what that means, but we do. So as he was running, I was yelling trailing, walk in, and he heard me, and then he looked like he was about to pull it, and he just kicked it real quick. I knew he was going to kick it, and I was ready to hit it.
For you and Dante, when the buzzer sounds, who's the first person you saw, if you can remember? I guess what will you remember from that kind of mob scene?
When the buzzer sounded?
Yeah.
Dante was the first person I saw. Yeah. We went up to each other, and we said we champions. We did it. And then right after I embraced Dante, the next person I saw was my brother. So there's two incredible point guards, two incredible players that I'll remember that for the rest of my life. As soon as the buzzer sounded, I saw Dante. We embraced each other, we hugged each other, and I went to John, two of the most toughest individuals, not only physically but mentally, that I've been around. So.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Josh, but other than that, I ran to the whole team. You know, Davion at the end. And I ended up hopping the gate and going to my family and just embracing that moment with them.
I was talking to Josh after the game, asking him about when he started kind of looking up at the clock and the score. Was there a point where something happened where you were like, oh man, like it's a 17-point game or whatever?
I was kind of looking forward to the 5-minute mark because me and John just kept telling each other, 5 minutes, we want to know that we're going to win this. So the 5-minute mark, but especially when AJ had that putback dunk, I think that put the exclamation point on it.
Other questions, Josh?
How do you like this building now? After you won?
I love it the same as it was the first game.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Good luck.
Glad I got out.